But you can't get out of university yesterday and say, I'm trying overseas. It's not going to work. You need to make your name. Because the first thing, for instance, if you get cast in a play on Broadway, they're going to ask how many productions have you done before. You got to have some kind of a biography.
This is the Hustler's Corner.
Hey, welcome family, the Hustler's Corner, straight out of Johannesburg in South Africa, straight up to that chop sign as usual. 1, 2, 3, let's click that like button. Click, 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 thank you. Let's go to that subscription button as well. Click. Don't forget to switch on the notification bell so you know when we get to drop brand new videos. So I do listen, I do read the comments, and I've been told a lot of times, stop doing interviews wearing shades, and I stopped that a long time ago. So even now, every time I remember, I'll just take my shades off. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got the great, iconic John Kani. When do you write?
In between the great movies. I do the movies to make money. And it's good to make money.
Yes, sir.
It's the only way you own your dignity and your independence, your ability to think. You can't think and be creative while you're trying to pay rent and you don't know where the next loaf of bread is coming. No, you got to make money. You got to free yourselves from these daily challenges that faces people who are struggling. When you're that level, and then you can say, I got a story to tell. So movies and television do that for me. I did Ghost in the Darkness with Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer, and I was followed by Coriolanus, which I did in Belgrade, in Serbia, and then I did what you call I broke Hollywood by Captain America, Civil War, followed by Black Panther, followed by the Lion King. I voiced Rafiki in The Lion King.
Yes, sir.
And I also did with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston, we did Murder Mystery. Now I'm in Paris now. As soon as I finish, just go back to that movie. We're doing Murder Mystery 2. That gives me the opportunity to step back and write. Because my mind is free. And as a creative spirit, you know, when people are messing you up, you can't write a song.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You need the clarity, you need the space.
Yes.
You need to own that silence.
And the inspiration.
That inspiration.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I do. In between these things I do, and of course doing my lectures around the world when I'm invited, and being the alumni of the Rhodes University, UCT, University of Durban Westville, University of Mandela and Port Elizabeth, University of Stellenbosch, Witwatersrand University in Johannesburg, and they all sort of say, what are you doing now? You're in the country. Can you do master classes? Can you do this? The story of Kunene and the King, the play I'm doing now with the Joburg Theatre, everything that's wrong with this country, nothing to celebrate. Oh, corruption, the government, the ANC, this blah, 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 this and this. Sorry, and that gave me the idea of Kunene and the King. Because I wanted to take these two people who are very learned, upper class, they're not poor. I mean, they have jobs and qualifications. One is a white actor, Shakespearean. He's been offered a role to play the role of a lifetime, to play King Lear. And so, but he's also dying of a terminal disease. He is offered to play this role in 3 months' time. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to make it. So the doctors suggest that he hires a carer from a nursing agency to look after him at his home. So he's told that Sister Kun is coming to look after you. But the agency calls Sister Lunga Kunene, an oncology retired nurse at Charlotte Macleod. I'm now living in Orlando. I live by looking after white people in their own homes who want to die in the comfort of their families, not in a hospice.
Yes, sir.
So I then arrive to this white actor living in Killarney, in his wonderful house, and knock on the door. He thinks I'm a pizza delivery person. I says, no. Opens the door. Oh my God, you're black. He runs to his cell phone. He wants to call the police because the first thing he sees is a black man. Therefore, he sees danger. He sees being attacked. He sees being robbed. He sees being killed. And I'm saying, no, I'm sent by the agency. I've come to look after you. He says, Jesus, you lying? I said, yes, you file the medical from your own doctor. He doesn't believe me. So finally, he says, I'm waiting for the sister from the nursing agency, Sister Kun. He's going to look after me. I said, no, you didn't listen. Sister Kunene. Not Kun, no, Sister Kunene. And that's when this South Africa race prejudices, perceptions of each other begins on the first scene when you see the play. And then you wonder how these two people are going to make it to the end of this story. But they have one thing in common. They love Shakespeare. The black guy studied Shakespeare at school in various languages. Setswana by Sol Plaatje, Measure for Measure, Buzani Kubawo, translated by Mdleda in isiXhosa. So I bring that in. So in that relationship, they create the dynamics of the South African race politically and concept, or how far have we really traveled with this rainbow nation? How far are white people truly committed to the democracy and equality in this country? Do they feel we're messing up because we are black? If the government was white, do they think that South Africa would have been a powerhouse of economic development and success? Do they blame everything that goes wrong in the country on the fact that we have a black government? And this place says we ain't going nowhere. You're going to have to deal with us. So, in a way, we're having such an incredible time.
Wow.
Young people pack the theater every evening. So, between that, I have the most important job, to be a husband to my wife, a father to my children, and a grandfather to all the grandchildren. That gives me the focus. That gives me the balance between being an artist and being me, his family.
How do you schedule your time between America and South Africa?
Well, when you get to my level, Sbu, everything's done around your schedule.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
Can I just boast one more time?
Beautiful, sir. Thank you, because it inspires us.
Yeah.
I want to work that hard to get to that level where everything has to be arranged around me.
Yes, the phone comes from my agent and it says, they're inquiring, what are you doing in September? There's a project I'd like to do. It's about 2 months. I check my schedule. I says, well, if you could move it to at least maybe first week of October, then I'm available to the first week of November. So if it happens there, it's fine. Or I'm not available. I'm doing something. And I honor my first agreement. I could be doing a silly little play in a small theater and I get a Hollywood offer. I will not walk out of that little play. I will tell them I'm sorry, because those people are committed and I'm committed to them as well.
How does a local actor or actress evolve their career to global status?
You got to work hard, very hard, where you are. People talk about, I'm going to try in America, I'm going to try. There are over 5 million working actors in America. They don't need you. Being a South African artist, actor, writer, director, you don't exist. When those producers and directors sit around, they don't know who Sbu is. They don't know who Vusi Kunene is. They don't know who Mutabi Tyelele is. So you don't exist in their world when they create. But somehow, if someone somewhere had seen your work here in South Africa, would say in that meeting, I was in South Africa for holiday and I saw a play at the Market Theatre. There's an actor there, he impressed me. What's the name? Check it. John Kani. And then says, find him. And agents find you. And then it's that first breakthrough. And when you make that one breakthrough, which we did in 1973, and we said, this is it. We're going to nurture this. We're going to look after this. We're going to make this grow. And it opened up the world to us. 1975, the Tony Award for Best Actor on Broadway no one has ever won that award who was not American. It's just me and Winston and Zakes Mukai later. No other person. It's an American exclusive. You know, when the Americans, when the New York Yankees are playing the Boston Sox, they call it World Series.
Yes, sir.
So that's how Hollywood also works. The world is them.
It's them.
You really have to work hard to make that breakthrough. When you step in, you do it both hands and says, I'm in. You will have to remember me. So it's very difficult. There is no formula. But you can't get out of university yesterday and say, I'm trying overseas. It's not going to work. You need to make your name. Because the first thing, for instance, if you get cast in a play on Broadway, they're going to ask how many productions have you done before. You got to have some kind of a biography. And these plays you've done must be recognizable to them. Now, if you say, I was in Isidingo, and I was in Muvango, I was in Umoja, I did something called Uyajola. There's no reference for that.
But that's where you can start, right?
You start there
Yes.
and grow. And you must be conscious of your growth. You must get in it in the plan to grow. Me and my agent in 1980 said, what are we doing this next 5 years? I said, I got to make $1 million.
You said that already back in 1980?
85. I got to make $1 million.
Dollars, not rands. You
All
spoke
that.
about that in 1985.
Yes, I got to make $1 million.
Guys, come on, you gotta dream bigger. You can't still be drinking $1 million rands in 2022. But $1 million rands in 2022 is like 200,000. Dr. John Kani spoke about $1 million in 1985. So you're intentional about it.
There's a plan. What are we doing next? What's following this? What's going? Where's my going? Where's my career going? Where's my life going? That it's not just wake up and do it. No, I've got a plan. I got to own me at a certain stage. In 1990, my agent said, now John Kani is a brand. Manage it. You're the CEO. Nobody wants John Kani in any production just because he's an actor, because they're going to make money, so be part of the deal. And that's when I began to co-produce. So I want to know now what's happening in the coming box office. I want to know not just 10% of having written it or being in a movie. People like Robert De Niro, the Big Jack, all these actors, they live on what's called royalties and residuals of the movies they've made because they signed a proper contract. A proper contract. I was laughing that a month ago, I got £3,500 for a movie I did in 1977.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
So you've been doing those good deals since the 70s?
Yes, because I got the agent, the right one. After winning the Tony Award, I signed up with William Morris Agency. So when you sign a contract, it could even be a small percentage, 0.5%. When they did The Godfather, James Caan, was offered $2.5 million or would take a point beyond after profit, 1 point. He said, no, give me. Marlon Brando was offered 5 points after profit or $8 million. He said, I'll take 5 points. By the time Marlon Brando died, the Godfather series had paid him over $300 million.
Sure.
You take a chance.
You take a chance.
A chance of, look, all I want is this. So now, in the movies recently I've done now, I have a point, or 2 or 3, or beyond bonus, beyond break even. So we all now share. So it's not, and I'm also a member of the Screen Actors Guild in Hollywood.
What is the Screen Actors Guild in Hollywood?
It is a major union body recognized by all theater, film, and television. It is the most powerful union for actors in the world. And they look after the interests and the welfare of actors. You cannot work in America if you're not a member of the union. You cannot become a member of the union until you got a job offer. Catch 22. And when you get your salary, they take a cut. they take a cut. So that percentage that goes to the union, right? As powerful as our unions in South Africa, but this is an actors structure, you know, and they will look after you. And with us now, I'm 79, they always kind of say, are you still okay? Should you go into the sort of benefit level where we look after you from your income and residuals? I said, no, I'm fine, I'm still working. I'm still working. I mean...
At 79?
Yes.
Konjo, you said you never drank, you never smoked?
No.
When you were young?
There's no reason, please. I don't know why.
That's why you're so healthy.
So everybody around me was drinking. In my family, they were drinking and smoking. I just didn't know why. I did try a beer once when my father went into the house. I spat it out. But I saw him go, I thought it must taste like ginger beer. Maybe like sweet Kool-Aid.
Maybe like more fire.
Yeah, and I went, it tasted terrible.
It's bitter.
It's nonsense. It's strong, you know. And I said, no, I can't drink that. Smoking, I didn't try at all. So that's it then.
So that's why you're still able to do good, big productions at the age of 79. You're still very active.
Yes, I don't know why you're not being active. They're not looking for a young man to ride a horse.
Yes, sir.
They're looking for an elderly gentleman to hold the project together. So I've said no to a lot of productions because that role was beneath my vision of me. Because that role was not enhancing my career and advancing it in any way. That role also was an insult to my integrity and humanity. That role also made me want me to play a woman abuser, a child abuser. I don't play boys. I can't be yes master, yes sir. I don't do those roles at all. So it is known in the world that if you want John Kani, the role must be substantial and must mean something, and the role must be key operative in the storyline. I'm not sliding in and out like a slide or like atmosphere. My role is integral to the telling of the story. There's a wonderful actor, I'm sure you know him, John Malkovich.
Yes, sir.
John would appear for 2 minutes in the movie. You will never forget him.
Yes, sir.
Because he only does those roles that are pivotal in the narrative of the story, that contribute or change the direction of the story. You choose those roles. Because when you do such roles, you're no longer paid for the amount of work and calls you have. You're paid for having made a contribution to the movie.
I hope young actors and actresses are watching. Guys, I hope we're learning, eh? Local actors and actresses would be offered beautiful roles and great opportunities from international productions, but then they'll get paid in local rands.
It's exactly what happens in this country because, let's say a Hollywood company is shooting a movie in South Africa. In South Africa, they engage a local production company who will represent the South African production side of the movie.
Can I get you another tea, sir? You're so fine? Thank you, sir.
Then they are they are the line producers. So then they will be given a budget in US dollars or British pounds, but then they have to bring the South African contingent, the artists, the crew and all. They work in a way that if they break even or could save, there's a bonus. Therefore, when you do a movie in that context here in South Africa, you will be offered the South African rates. When we were doing The Ghost and the Darkness in Mpumalanga with Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer, we employed hundreds of extras. What's this wonderful Indian actor who was in Isidingo, Devon? He's now part of the chair. He was one of the extras. They reminded me, Dr. John, you don't remember me. I was one of the guys that was hanging around you because I was an extra. But then Michael Douglas found out that we allocate, let's say, $20 a day. Now, $20 times 15, we're talking about $3,000 a day. But the local actors were offered $100 or $1,000. That is if you're big. But then he realized there was a difference in what they had budgeted for the artist. If this actor was in New York, how much would we pay this actor? That it doesn't happen in South Africa. So when you raise those questions, they're not going to work with you. There's no union that will protect you because they got rid of you because you demanded what you are worth, which they call, who the hell do you think you are? That's what it's called, who the hell do you think you are? And I've heard some stories when people are told, do you think you're John Kani? Next.
You did that for yourself in back in those days. Did you have that vision, or were you was it your agent that said you have to do your deals like this?
Oh no, in the beginning I was excited to get the job. I was excited to act. I didn't even care. We even said we're doing it for passion. We're doing it for the love of the arts. Yes, let's do it for the love of the arts and stop.
At some point.
Because it's called show business.
Yes, sir.
Which of the two words is longer, show or business?
Business.
Sir, it's a business. Your business is art, creative arts, but it's a business. You're not being done a favor. You are not even doing them a favor. We're employing the skill that you have that they need.
We're in a partnership.
We're in a partnership here. And therefore, you look, I would not lie, we were exploited for quite a number of years. They're eager to work. And once then you get to a point, like I said to you, that in 1985, my agent said, that's it, John Kani is a brand. You've won a Tony Award, you've been working for over 10 years. Now there's no more that you can agree to anything. And she said to me, we're gonna lose a lot of work because the cost of using John Kani has gone up very, very high. Don't worry. There are even jokes by comedians in America that I used to work a lot until I joined William Morris Agency because you'll do one job, it covers 3 years. Or you can do 19 jobs and earn less than you would have in 3 years. So when an agent is strong and an agent is good and you have looked after yourself, your name, your reputation, your craft, and you constantly hone it. Actors here only act when they get an offer. In America and London, we attend master classes during the day all the time. Writing, creative writing, directing, acting, text interpretation, text, unpacking the script, learning how to interpret the script and references to life, references to history, research. They're happening all the time. And here, you finish your play at the Market Theatre or the Joburg Theatre, then you go home and you wait. Because in that networking of those master classes, there are producers there that are called to talk about producing. And then you listen, how do you produce? There are agents there to talk about what agents do and how agents can enhance and protect and encourage growth. There are writers there who talk about script writing, screenplay writing. How does a story start? How does it become a narrative? How does it translate from a narrative to an idea of the play? How does the play develop? What do you use as a vehicle, as the platform of telling the story? All those things are happening all the time. And then, of course, if you're in England, there are voice classes, there are movement classes, there are even breathing classes, that you attend. Yeah, those things don't happen here. A wonderful friend of mine, Dorothy N. Gould, who's trying to use all the knowledge we gained when we travel to teach speech, to teach interpretation, Because actors in America, directors in Hollywood, they have no time to ask you, why are you doing that? You got to do the right thing first time. They'll tell you, one shot.
You're in the big leagues then.
No, we're not teaching you how to act, how to pronounce, how to articulate, how to enunciate, how to have diction. Because we're not going to shoot this scene because we don't hear what we're saying. Do you know how much it costs to do that scene again? And when they finish with you and if they were not happy, it's terrible, Sbu. All people in the industry will know how Spielberg struggled working with you. You not focusing has cost you your future.
So it's up to the creative to work on their own art, to work on their creativity, to work on their skill, to work on their talent, to build their name, as they build their name, they must be cognizant of where they're taking their career, because deals keep getting better as your name also keeps growing. As you're saying, at some point you became the John Kani. That's when you joined that agency where you are able to then do deals in your own way.
If you ask my children, especially Atanda, that was in the 70s, what does your father fear most? Being 80 and poor.
And you're 80 next year and you're not poor. Congratulations.
That is what my children will tell you. What does John Kani fear most? Being 80 and poor. So, from the 1970s, I worked towards liberating myself when I'm 80. So I knew the journey I'm going to take and the way I'm going to sharpen this skill so that I reach that. Every year I say, what do I want to make this year? How many projects I'm going to do this year? Talk to my agency, which is now also MLA, where Kunene passed away.
Kunene,
Souls in Peace. We always work on what's the target this year. I don't work in a dual job to job to job. No, I'm not done work that way. I want to know, what am I doing in 2022? What am I doing in 2023 until October? What am I doing in 2024? That's where I am now. I'm in 2024. And that's what I know, because I got to go sleep. I'm too old to be worrying. I've got lots of gray hair, and none of them are about worrying, are just about aging gracefully.
Yes, sir.
So there's a plan. I mean, you start a business. You know you want to grow this business from here into a bigger structure, into a studio owned by, into a whole building with various studios where other studio companies are renting to you and doing things. You want to blockbuster it with internet. You're linking it with Netflix. Now you go beyond Netflix. You're linking it with Hollywood, Warner Brothers. We're talking about Disney in Africa, Marvel in Africa. That's where you're going. There's a plan. But if the plan ends up here, you're in trouble. You're in trouble if the plan ends up here. There's got to be a time when people say, you got to get Sbu. And he's from Germany. Can't even pronounce Zubu. Zubu, because I told when I go to South Africa, I got to look for Zubu.
Yes, sir.
Find him.
Yeah.
You see, there's a plan. I never worked in just in the mist. I know what I'm doing this year. I know that from the Joburg Theatre, we're going straight to Durban at the Playhouse, and then I go to Port Elizabeth at Gqeberha, then I go to Stellenbosch. And when I finish that, I go back to Paris to complete this movie I'm doing. When I finish that, I go back to Disney. We're doing an installment of something which is coming soon. When I finish that, I'm back in New York. I'm doing a project. And then towards the end of that, I'm working on the future to Canada to 2024. So I'm looking for a job 2025. Do you know anyone who's looking for an actor?
And that's what I always say to hustlers, guys, as we're building businesses. I hope you guys have just listened to this masterclass. I just can't help but just listen to this amazing wisdom that I'm getting from here. And just through his career story, Dr. John Kani, the wisdom that he's sharing may be applied to your business as we're all growing our businesses.
Absolutely, my brother. It's a fantastic thing to start a small spaza and serve a community. There's something called Pick and Pay. When are you getting there? There's something called the big corporates, Walmart. When are you getting there? There's macro. When you're supplying, you can't remain a salaried person. You got to be a capitalist and deal in money, making money. Not trying to raise a capital to survive. So it's the same thing as artists. It's the same thing as artists. You have to build your career yourself. And you have got a vision, and you've got to have these aims and milestones that you plot, that I'm going there. Not all of them will materialize, but you get close. You get close. When my son attended the first project was an American series that was shot somewhere in Mpumalanga. He came home, he says, they pay me this amount. I said, how much is yours? He said, no. They pay me 30,000. I said, no, I want to know how much is yours in the 30,000. I don't understand. He says, when's your next job? I don't know. I said, from that time to I don't know, it's 30,000.
Did he get it?
He got it later. Got it later. From that time to I don't know, it's 30,000.
Yeah.
So when you get this job and it pays you 100,000, and you're driving your life little Golf with nice little shiny wheels, why are you using this money to go and deposit on a BMW when you don't know when's the next job? You're just a victim of repossession and embarrassment. If you make 200,000 on this job, and I ask myself, how much in my lifestyle does John Kani need to manage his family a month? So if I say, to be really slightly comfortable, I need 35,000 a month. That's when I started this business. I need 35,000 a month. I mean to pay this and pay kids at school and food at home and make my wife comfortable and all that. I need 35,000 a month. But I've just got 200,000. So I put the money in there and pay me 35,000 a month. Now I get another job because I'm not going to be unemployed for a long time. Another job in 3 months, which now I get another 600,000. I don't pay myself from that 600,000. I stick to the 35. The 600 goes to the bank to strengthen the base of my financial support. I get another job that pays me 2 million. I'm not changing houses and moving and changing the cars, and my wife's car is being changed, and my kids move from a nice school to another school in the suburbs. That 2 million goes into the base support for John Kani. So that's what makes me financially comfortable, because I pay myself a standard salary that is manageable to make me live a comfortable life. Not extravagant, not affluent. I'm not in the business of fill up the table. I am in the business of looking after myself and looking after my children and my grandchildren. It's a long haul, bro, because I'm going to live long. I'm going to be hanging around here at 99.
I like that.
And just doing one move, but you're coming in a wheelchair and speak.
It's like you were here yesterday when I was talking to my team. They can hear you are here to emphasize the message. That's what I was telling you guys. It doesn't mean just because you're making more money, your lifestyle has to upgrade. There's no need to upgrade that car if it's still okay to use your old ride. Because once you upgrade everything else, you're still in the same position. You just look rich, but you're actually not. What he's just said now, beautiful, beautiful masterpiece.
You see, my son, I said to him, here's your room in my house. You don't pay rent, you don't pay electricity, you don't pay for water, you don't even do your own washing, you don't even pay food. So why would you move to an apartment? Stay in that place until you're comfortable financially, and then I will ask you to move, because I will see now that you're becoming a liability. But don't. A guy gets a job in one of the soapies. You know, the role is still growing within the soapy. It's not the lead role. And they meet Bashikasi immediately. Une apartment khona la ngase Rosebank, or maybe ngase Kilani, or some nice place somewhere. And the dams normally is no Matembe, no Patricia now, who also is in another movie. So now their cost of living makes them need another 10,000 every month, which no one can earn. So every month they minus 10,000. And in the next month, they choose which to pay. There's the rent, there's the bond, there's the car, there's the furniture, there's the cost of living, there's everything. So you're struggling from the beginning of your career. So I always advise young people, stay at home until the parents push you out. Till they push you out and they realize, no, now you can afford.
Stack up that paper.
Yes.
Stack it up.
Yes.
Don't put it yet. Just take it out.
We got to make money. The poor can't help the poor. Only the rich helps the poor.
Amen. Help from an overflowing cup.
Oh, my time is overflowing. I've been generous with it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being humble enough to come and teach and share your knowledge with our audiences.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the years. Thank you for all the decades. And thank you for the likes of Abu Atandwa. I'm so proud of you, Atandwa. Congrats, bro. Finally, I made this happen without you. I thought you would make this happen for me. But hey, I got some connections, brah.
Yeah, man.
I'll see you in New York soon, bro. I miss you. He's still overseas?
He's still in New York. He's in a play.
Okay.
He's performing now. I'm hoping that when I finish my tour, before other things in between, I'll be able to go and see the play if it's still running.
The rest of the family, Cape Town, Johannesburg?
Joburg.
Okay.
But their big families in Port Elizabeth and Gqeberha. That's where the big family is. I'm the one who went to Johannesburg.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my father was miserable. Nobody comes back from that place. I'm from Port Elizabeth at Gqeberha. I work in Joburg, so I have a house in Joburg. But my home is Sizwe at Gqeberha. That's where my people are. That's where the people who know who I am. You know, not the people who know John Kani. Just before I go, there's a little story I love to tell. I'm standing in my father's house. I'm 65 years old. There's two elderly gentlemen with sticks and the Bible. They're from church. And the elderly one says to me, "Come here, young man." They're in their 80s. So I go and says, "Hello, Tata." And he asked the other one, "Do you know this man?" The other one says, "His face looks familiar." Yeah, I don't know where I know him from. And then the older one says, "Do you remember Uba Ukani, the one who had that big Chevrolet van?" He says, "Yes, that's his son." And they walked away. I'm standing there thinking, do I show you my CV? Do I tell you all my achievements?
They're honoring your father, not you.
Me. And they walk away, smooth. They haven't asked me about all my world.
You're the great John Kani.
I'm the great John Kani. And he says, "Yamkumbulanu Babu Kani, man." The old man with the big Chevrolet van, that's his son. Thank you.
They recognize him, not you.
I stood there and I think, I like this place.
Wow.
I love Port Elizabeth.
Yes, sir.
Because it's me. It's not John Kani. John Kani is a working artist. I mustn't confuse him with me. And John Kani has never been to my house. Prior in my house and my neighbors, Ngubawukan, the neighbor and the front, Utataka Atando no Andisa, no Nomonde, no Zugo, no Mkolisi, no Akum, no Anat. That's who I am. But when I go to work, then you have a problem. The dressing room must have a star. I want an attendant. I want a dresser. I want someone who says me, "Do you want coffee, sir?" When I'm in Hollywood, my trailer is a resident chef because it's John Kani. And I don't bring Uba Ukani into there. I exploit the situation. The bigger you are, the better for Hollywood. I walked out of my trailer in Captain America. It was from here to that wall, with even some little relaxing place and a bed between takes. And I saw two trailers that were double my size. So I asked my runner, "Who is that?" Says, "Oh, that's Robert G. Downey." You see, I'm looking at this, and he's got two trailers.
Bigger than this.
Bigger than mine. I said, "Why?" He says, "Oh, he's got attendants, which about 12 of them. People who run around him all the time." That's where you go. That's where you must see this journey. Not here. Here, I'm just packing my bags. I'm moving on. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. I love you too. I'm glad you've left your footprints in that sand. I can see them, Smooth.
I got emotional, so I lost my biological father and I lost my stepfather. So just holding you like that, I could just feel their spirit. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Grow. Go start.
Guys, you take care. I'm sure my phone has been ringing. Why is your phone off?
May we please take a picture, sir?
Yes.
Please,
Everybody's
don't
say,
cut this part out on the podcast. They must see how starstruck I am. Either books that have changed your life, or maybe 3 books that you think young people out there can go and check out.
Well, to begin with, read if you are an artist. Read the plays of Shakespeare. Read the plays of Zeksimda, the plays of John Kani, the plays of Arthur Fugard. Read the poetry of Ingwapelo Mandingan. Read the poetry of Sipho Siphamla. Read the poetry of Maishe Maiponye. If you are within community and political activism, read the Handbook of a Revolutionary by Frantz Fanon. And if you are into great poetry, find out the works of Maya Angelou. But always be avaricious in reading, because when you read, you travel with the writer's thoughts into worlds that only live in the imagination of the writer. It makes you feel you've been there too. That's what reading is about.
Thank you, sir. Guys, the great, iconic John Kani. My dream has been realized in grand manje. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, boys.
This is the Hustler's Corner.